Strick and Bach. Hold up.
Good afternoon to all the ticket listeners out there. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach here on a Wednesday, and kind of a fun Wednesday. A couple things going on. We're going to jump around. We got some Husker TV ratings from last year that I want to get to. A little bit of Summer League fun as a really impressive debut from Chet Holmgren. Kind of got me thinking about where some of the names that you'll want to watch out for as Husker fans in Summer League is. It's a little bit more interesting than it's been at Nebraska for quite some time to have some of those guys in the mix there. We'll also obviously talk about the big trade in Baker Mayfield today, going over to the Panthers, probably the starter there. So that's at least of note, and plenty more. But first, I'd like to bring in Strick. Strick, how are you doing today on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon?
Well, it's Wind Down Wednesday. Today is a great day. Hot. Nonetheless, but it's all good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening out there, some news to report on, some things to talk about. Interested to hear about them, the Huskers and those TV ratings. And there's also some other TV ratings that are out there from another football organization that happened to outperform what they thought maybe they would be doing at this time of the season.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The USFL, for what it's worth, had a which is that's my crutch. I just learned today on the text line. Somebody's pointed out. I keep saying for what it's worth. I don't know where I picked it up, but now I think that we should take shots. Not me, but you guys out there, take a shot every time I say that, and I'll try to keep it down. But I am saying that a lot. But the USFL had a 1.5 million viewers for their championship on Sunday. For what I can't say for what it's worth. On Sunday, NASCAR, PGA Golf, also on the same day, drew 1.9 million. Sunday Night Baseball drew 1.2 million. So they did a little bit better than Sunday Night Baseball. That's at least something.
That's a major sport.
Yeah.
To consider when you really think about it.
But it's not all that. Obviously, in an era where football is king, and it has been for quite some time, which is basically... We always talk about money, right? When we're talking about the college football discussion, why all this is happening, it's money. Well, it's money in TV ratings. And some people like to belittle college football or college sports from major markets, like we were talking about the other day with, Colin Cowherd, or, if you have pro sports teams, you can make fun of college sports and saying that it's less interesting or this or that. And it sounds elitist and it's annoying. And I don't like when sports fans draw a line between that or any really line. We're all just trying to have fun, but you will hear that from time to time. And I always giggle when I hear a pro sports fan do that, is like act like college is beneath him, because it's not really pro versus college sports. It's football against everybody else. College football, the reason why all this is happening and all the money is being moved is because they're the only thing that at times can compete with the NFL, and not really. I mean, they're the second showing. Major League Baseball, the NBA, all these other sports don't draw the ratings that football does. Not just pro, but college as well. I think I looked up the top 15 just ratings grabs this past year, and the first 12 were NFL and the next 3 were college football. Again, college football can't reach the height of what NFL can do. But that's why there's so much money being thrown around. That's why there's, this college football landscape is changing, and why football is the king above all. And in that, basketball, all these other sports aren't really being considered. All of that makes it really interesting to ever see if a spring league could work. And I guess first off, I'd want to know if any of you guys watched much of the spring league, the USFL, this past year. Obviously, there were connections there. Josh Banderas had a heck of a year. I know a couple other guys. Lonzo Moore was out there playing, Freedom Mack and Mulligan, and Mike Riley won Coach of the Year. So let us know if you watched or how much USFL football you watched. 402-464-5685. Strick, did you find yourself getting into it? I mean, or was there enough other sports or other things going on that you just... Or was it something about the USFL that turned you off?
Well, I think there was a lot of things that were going on for me. I would take sneak peeks. I don't think I was ever in a point where I honed in a whole game. I think part of it too was the games were all played in Birmingham.
Yeah,
that was kind of odd. I think watching and not getting the fan supported base. I think it was good in order to minimize cost on the onset of the league getting off to a start, and just allowing the viewership to really be built by way of TV. And they did. I mean, let's just keep it real. They did a good job of just maintaining solid football ratings. I think one of the key elements is obviously in February next year, XFL is going to start off before they do.
Yeah, months before
before they get going. Then the key component to that is whether they did enough this year, whether they provided enough spark, enough energy, enough reason for somebody to want to tune in. If some people were able to get behind via viewership, to get behind the players and to really connect with the players and the teams, to be a driving force for what because honestly, XFL is going to come with a lot of gimmicks. They're going to come with a lot of extra stuff. They have a tie to the NFL, being that they're going to be a showpiece in order to help the NFL to make decisions as to where they may go with certain technologies or certain things that they may implement or use or want to try.
Yeah. So that's going to help them.
That gives them, a certain leg, and they're getting another start on you. I just personally don't think that two can survive. I think there's going to be a group that's going to enjoy one aspect of it. Otherwise, it's going to cause a split, which is going to cause lower viewership, which one will die. And then it's going to depend on who's got the best backing at that point. But then I think they can. And the reason why I think it's possible is you're having such low viewership, especially via TV, on baseball. Baseball is doing okay for the most part, probably in stadium stuff and in the local market, so forth and so on. But on a national scale, being that football is key, it does give a little leg to that, where there's an opportunity. There's a voided space in this time frame of a season, barring, FIFA World Cup type stuff, or,
right.
Anything major, barring what happens with Live. If Live just goes nuts and people are really just excited, I don't personally know that to be the case, but they're getting
they gotta up their production value from what I've heard. But
what I mean? So other than that, man, barring there's any outliers of something that just really just sparks your interest and drawn to, then I think they have a chance. I think one of them will have a chance in this, whichever one that is, I don't know yet.
And they both have like a, at least somewhat of a name that you can draw back on. At least it's not, random letters that, just thrown together to be a new football league. The XFL is going to bring back memories of the early 2000s and He Hate Me and all that, the gimmick football stuff that was there before. I don't know if they'll bring back those cheerleaders. They might get in trouble in the modern day for that. But USFL, of course, goes back to the 80s, and they have their own, fight in court about some of the people from back then in that league wanted their money there. But I also found quarterback play, like somebody pointed out the text line, I think quarterback play certainly hurts, but Josh says it's hard watching the USFL without fans in the stadium. And obviously there weren't a whole lot of fans in Birmingham that wanted to cheer for other teams. And so he said it reminded me of COVID, and that I think that kind of probably hurts it a little bit. We've all seen,
and that's a mental thing.
Yeah,
that's really a mental, sentimental thing, because really nobody wants to be reminded of that time frame. So you're right. I think that's odd when people are looking.
This looks like a COVID game.
Yeah, it reminds me too much of that. But yeah.
And then I think quarterback play also hurt. I think if they were able to, I don't know what league it is, but isn't like Johnny Manziel's throwing to like Terrell Owens,
some indoor league,
and some indoor league. That's what they need. They need the has-beens that were at least big stars, or the first round flail-outs that 5 years later we forget about them. I think that's what they need, and certainly a guy like Johnny Manziel's personality kind of comes along with it. T.O.'s personality, for what it's worth, would come in with it as well.
What about Jamarcus Russell?
Jamarcus Russell would be interesting, and we've always also said it before this kind of season played out.
Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, there you go. See, but that's it. And, maybe maybe The Rock knows that, because The Rock is the leader of the USFL, now the owner, of the XFL, after Vince McMahon gave up on it. But you remember The Rock opened up the Super Bowl. So, I mean, we talked about that connection with the NFL and how that's going to help. There clearly is that there. But he's I mean, he's the embodiment of star power and what it can do for TV ratings and movie ratings and all that stuff throughout his career. I wonder if he can understand the idea more so of bringing that type of star power. And it's not even the best football players at times. It's just the most exciting. And I felt like the USFL just didn't have that. When you watch Shea Patterson, I mean, these are solid quarterbacks that at least as a college football fan I can kind of remember, but I only know like 3 or 4 guys on the team barely. And so I mean, unless you have a star of the league that just kind of takes over, I don't know if they'll make it either. And the other thing is this, I just don't know if there's a need for spring football. I understand it's the time slot to try to get any sort of piece of the pie out of college football and NFL, which run the rest of the year. I just don't, I guess as much as I miss football, and part of it, I'd rather watch like old games on YouTube of teams that I care about and know and stuff like that. But it's got to build this foundation, and I think you're right. The Birmingham, the no crowds, that kind of stuff kind of fell off of it. So just because year one went like this, even though they had 1.5 million viewers in their championship game, I'd have to bet on the XFL at this point, almost because I just know what the USFL looks like, not necessarily knowing what the XFL is going to bring out. And like you said, the 2-month advantage that they're going to get on kind of trying to build something, because if the USFL just kind of comes along midway through the XFL season, or I don't know exactly where they'll be at that point in the season, I don't have enough room to watch 2 spring football leagues in my, at time,
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I just think that there's a dead period of void, because the baseball season is just so long, right? And really, most baseball fans don't really get energetic until like the third quarter of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
When you start kind of seeing how the playoff situation is going to line up, when you start kind of seeing at that point where teams can make a run, like some teams did.
Unfortunately,
last year,
when the football season kind of starts, you get into
saying.
September, October.
Yeah. And that's when that's where interest really starts, mounting up, because then it's like a carryover. It's like that winter start, fall entry then carries into football, and everybody's like kind of just, So I think too, baseball, a lot of it depends on who gets there. A lot of it depends on who's in the running. You know what I mean? If it's like the Toronto Blue Jays and,
small market teams,
you know what I mean? Toronto Blue Jays and somebody like well, they don't have them no more, but do they? Padres?
Yeah.
They're still in
Padres,
San Diego, right? San Diego Padres or something like that.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah.
So at that point, but if it's like Red Sox or Yankees,
Dodgers,
even the Tampa Bay, now, they're kind of solid. If it's some of those types of teams, then people kind of perk up a little bit and get excited about that fall fling.
Well, I've mentioned this for baseball too. I think that they do kind of miss out now on not having the old Red Sox Cubs dilemma of kind of like a curse, like some type of like a lot of history kind of going into it. And there's some other teams that can kind of step up and have their own I guess gaps of success and all that stuff, but that was really, for me growing up watching baseball, as cool as it was
Mets,
to watch
ball going between their legs.
Yeah, just like and the
drama.
Cubs and the Red Sox got close at times, and it was just such a story to have 86 or 100 years or whatever of just getting close or being relevant, being a major market team and not getting the victory. I feel like baseball really misses that now, and I feel bad for younger people that never kind of got to experience that, because I don't even know what team that would be now.
Royals.
Well, the Royals just won not too long ago,
but they're still,
and they're not a big enough market. It's got to be a combination of things, right? You got to have enough
Rangers.
of a fan base that cares. I'd have to think back to when they last did it, maybe. But the problem is, again, we don't know that. Like 15 years ago, I guess I have to think back. Now it's been like 20 years ago, whatever it was, when the Red Sox won. You could just ask any baseball fan who are the most, the lovable losers. That's the Cubs and the Red Sox. Yeah. Now I don't even know who that team is. Jory says the Guardians are currently in a long drought now. But they also got the problem that they just switched names. So I don't even know, like, you don't have that connection either. But that is true. I think
I
they're
halfway
in a long
didn't know
drought.
what to call them at not the Guardians, but like I was just talking to somebody from DC not too long ago, and part of the discussion was, you can't even say it now, like it was old Washington Redskins, right? And so I didn't know, I halfway almost forgot that they're the Commanders now. It's like this transition.
We just got used to football team barely enough, and then they switch it on us too.
So that kind of threw me off a little bit. It was very similar when we started like Washington Bullets. And
Wizards.
The Wizards. That was like hard for the mind to grasp that. And I think I did everything I could to not go in the early stages of the Washington, not to go to DC and play for the Wizards. Like, I was like,
you didn't want to.
It's just the name just did not click with me. It was the early stages, so it still wasn't. Now it's it's kind of a mainstay now.
I got to ask you, because now that I kind of think about it, you obviously played against MJ when he was with the Bulls, but as a player in the league, when he went to the Wizards, you knew the Wizards weren't great. It's kind of a cool era. Kwame Brown was a draft pick there, but, at least for us, Teron Lue was just kind of coming off his success against Allen Iverson in the finals, and he went over there. What was the feeling in the league with Jordan coming back there? Because in the media, obviously, it was an absolute frenzy, but was there an idea that he'd come back and be the best again? Or was it kind of like, this is Wizards, this is a different chapter, he's older?
Yeah, I think it was a different chapter. It's one of those things of scratching an itch. It would be very similar to what I felt when my time was up here at Nebraska and I wanted to kind of just get on the football field and just scratch the itch.
Yeah.
It was just, it's like he's a part owner, because remember, at that time he was a part owner of the Wizards.
That's right.
By Abe Poland gave him partial ownership. So you're sitting there, and it was very similar with that. I had the same similar experience when I was working for the Dallas Mavericks in 2006, and I was in the building. Mark Cuban flew us all down to the Miami game.
On the finals, yeah.
The finals game in 2006. And it was very similar feeling that I had when that happened. Like sitting there in them stands and you're watching the dismantling of how the team is just falling apart and just totally giving up the ghost in that game.
Yeah.
Could have went 3-1. You know what I mean? And so I could understand how he's sitting up there and he's watching and he knows he's an on-court coach. You know what I mean? So,
and he could help the team.
Yeah. So that's kind of where, that spawned from.
Yeah.
And we knew that. Those who were vets knew that.
Did you guard Wizards, MJ? Did you ever have the chance?
I actually got a picture of me
cool.
in my house of him when I think I was with Indiana.
Okay.
When I got the picture.
Well, those Indiana teams were cool. Yeah. But anyways, I'll
take a picture of it one day and I'll bring it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We'll put it up on the stream. Did you could you tell when you guarded Wizards, MJ, that it was different than
For sure.
Bulls? Yeah.
Absolutely. he just didn't have he still was crafty. He still was very cerebral in how he handled himself on the court. Still had great hands, so you had to, protect the rock and do different things like that. But he just didn't have the same step. So his post-up game and his all that stuff was still efficient.
Yeah.
His actual pump fake game was even probably, it was solid, but it was probably even more effective, at that age.
Because he needed it more. Yeah.
So those things, he just didn't have that same first burst that he had. If he, hit you with any type of counter or shot fake, or he, out, those types of things was not there, but that's about it.
Yeah. That's just kind of interesting to kind of go through my head of guarding Michael Jordan and thinking he was better. I've done this before, because obviously to the layman,
you 40.
Well, right. Yeah. He's still like average 20. He could go off on you, but it's just like for the layman to ever think of guarding MJ alone. It's like, yeah, there's no chance whatsoever. But to have guarded him at a time when he was better
In his prime.
than Tua later, it'd just be weird to guard MJ and think this isn't the best MJ I've ever guarded.
No, yeah, and that was kind of wild about it. I didn't get to see Kobe in his latter years, but getting to see Kobe in his prime was pretty much what you were going to see with MJ.
Yeah,
those are. Yeah, they've got compilations out there on YouTube right now that you could basically go and see the mirror of what it.
Oh yeah,
what he
they
was.
look pretty similar.
Yeah, they're just the similarities in their game style. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a blessing. I was truly grateful to play in transitional eras. Meaning, I got to see some of the top 75 players of all time and some of their final days. I hate it. I mean, I got to play with Magic, but I didn't get to play with him playing.
Yeah.
Because when we go train in LA, he would always play. You actually didn't want to play Magic in pickup games because he's called. If the game is even close, he's calling it.
He calls fouls.
Man, listen.
He's a little bit older at this point.
You don't even touch Magic.
Can't touch Magic.
He is making sure that he's getting the last shot. That's how he works, man. It's crazy. But it's fun to play on Magic's team.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it'll get you going.
But playing against him in the pickup was never fun, bro.
Who was the? And we're just kind of diving off. Obviously, there's something to talk about. We'll get back to it, but it's kind of fun to go down this road. Who was your favorite setup guy that you ever played with? I mean, because you played point guard a lot, so it's hard. You might have been the guy to look for to be that guy.
I can tell you it was fun watching Reggie Miller work off screens, and you're waiting. You once you understand how he sets people up and his flares from his curls or from his pop outs. When you get to that and how good his footwork was and squaring up and being able to get his shot off, those were fun. But I also enjoyed the majesty of Paul Pierce. Like Paul just didn't look like he can do to you what he does to you. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he's a slow man's game. His shot fakes are slow. Then all of a sudden he's by you. Then he's with a step back to a pump fake. You fly up. I mean, it was
so
magistry.
crafty.
Yeah, it was magistry. And then he'll go in there and bang on you. Like he will go in and next thing you jumping off the bench or you jumping on the court like, yo, you'll put somebody in the rim and you're like, dang, you little dumpy looking, because he looks kind of dumpy, like he don't have the athletic, to do what he does. And he was phenomenal.
He's one of those
also
guys.
big chunky.
Yeah.
You know who
Who's
Big
that?
Chunky is?
Brian Reeves?
No.
I don't know.
No, Big Chunky.
That's Big Country.
Big Chunky was Antoine Walker.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Twan.
At 6'8", just watching him too in the post and do the things he did in the post. Those guys were fun to watch,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Dirk was phenomenal, but I didn't get to see Dirk in his prime. I got to saw young Dirk, where Dirk was still trying to figure it out. He was still trying to, find his way. He was still patenting and perfecting that little, one-legged, fallback and stuff like that. But the crazy thing is that every day after practice, I was a gym rat, so I would stay after. Dirk would still be there. Dirk would come back at night. Like sometimes I'd have to come back, do something. He would be in the gym with Hogar. He brought his shooting coach over from Germany, and he would be working on stuff. He would be doing squats and shooting, and the craziest shooting drills that you would see. Yeah. And you can see that he was what he is, the culmination of that from what I saw in those early years.
Well, and it's fascinating because we got to take a break, but we'll get to it here in a second. That's kind of a lot of people, I guess, are looking at what Chet Holmgren did last night and wondering, because he, the comps to Dirk are kind of there, where he's not going to have the speed to blow by you or anything, but he's 7'1". He can, he can shoot over the top.
I'll tap in on that.
So we'll get into that coming up next year on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour, and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this summer. Check out their new Keen and Tiva brand sandals for hiking and Olukai sandals for sitting by the pool. Plus, they're stocked up on Hey Dudes to catch you up on the latest shoe fashion. They also have shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Aetrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate. Football season will be here before you know it, and you can get ahead of everyone else with the first annual Evening with the Huskers event at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill. Join 93.7 The Ticket and Husker Online's Sean Callahan for an evening with current Nebraska football players and surprise guests as they preview the season ahead. Enjoy cocktail hour and a delicious Wagyu steak dinner, as well as an open bar for the duration of the event, all for just $199 per person. Click the logo for the event at theticketfm.com to sign up. Don't delay, this will fill up fast. Don't miss your chance to meet and greet with Husker football players at Tanner's Bar and Grill and Tavern 180 in Lincoln at 30th and Yankee Hill. Sign up today at theticketfm.com using the Evening with the Huskers banner. It's an evening with the Huskers to preview the 2022 Nebraska football season at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Presented by Husker Online and 93.7 The Ticket.
In your busy life, very little is free, but your next home might be a bit less than you think with a free appraisal from Security First Bank. Free home appraisals from Security First Bank. We're the bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Offer valid through December 31st, 2022 on secondary market new home purchase loans only. One free appraisal per transaction. Appraisals paid for by lender at closing. Subject to lender qualifications. See lender for details. NMLS number 505011.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Thanks for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Jake Bakoven. He is Eric Strickland, the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet, and this is On the Block. We're continuing our conversation. A lot to get to today, as Sam Darnold doesn't look like he's going to start with the Panthers anymore. I don't know if he was going to either way, but Baker Mayfield now traded over there. The other big story kind of going on, bleeding over from yesterday, was Chet Holmgren, the number 2 pick, obviously from Gonzaga, now playing with OKC in their summer league. He had quite an impressive debut the other night. So, but despite that, not everybody in the NBA is still sold on him. And you would hope that it would take, if you were doubting him, more than one game to disprove your beliefs there. But Chet Holmgren last night hit 4 3-pointers on his way to 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 blocks in just 24 minutes. As the Utah Jazz went on to, the Thunder went on to defeat the Utah Jazz in Summer League 98-77. Josh Giddey, by the way, is going to be kind of a fun pairing there with him. Had 14 points and 11 assists in that game. But from I don't know how much of it you got to watch, but obviously you've watched Chet Holmgren kind of play at Gonzaga as well. Do you feel like, I don't know if I ever asked you, did you feel like he would be the number 1 pick? It kind of was a surprise. It was Paulo Banchero to some. Would you think with him that he's got the highest ceiling, or what do you kind of think of Chet Holmgren so far?
I thought he had probably the highest upside. I thought that if Orlando was going to look to have a generational type of unicorn player potentially, I thought he probably had the most upside in that space. You know what I mean? I really don't. One of the two of them got him, so that's good, because they're not going to most of them. Orlando may be more of a chance than definitely Oklahoma City, but Oklahoma City landing him and being able to have that type of potential in their house, in their wheelhouse for a long term is solid. Giddey also is a tremendous player. That's one of them steel type of players, with his skill set and what he does. I think Orlando was going with more ready, more now, more body. The reason why I say Chet Holmgren will possibly have success initially, but will also struggle, is because they're not going to know what to do with him against, like, he's gonna have success on the offensive side, but he's going to struggle against like a Joel Embiid. You know what I mean?
Defensively,
he's going to struggle against a Nikola Jokic. He's going to probably work them over, but see, you can switch guys
onto him,
and put somebody else elsewhere. So that's the thing, right? They're going to have somebody that can handle him. They'll probably end up putting somebody a little bit smaller, because why? Take me to the post, young fella. You're not going to get here. If the league is letting you play more physical, you're not getting that. That's what I used to do with Dirk. I mean, Dirk was very frail like him early on, bigger but frailer. Dirk would try to post me up on switches, and I'd be like, "You're not getting anywhere near this post." You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, then that's where he's going to struggle and he's going to have trouble, because he's not going to. It was very similar to when I had to guard Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan, that's what Chet reminds me of, not as player style, but the mismatch that he can cause for you. Because Tim Duncan on a center, he kills him because he's so crafty. He's got both hands. He can put the ball on the floor. He's got great fundamentals and footwork. Kills a center. Most power forwards had trouble with him because he was a little bit quicker than him, probably a little bit stronger, beat him down, and drop hooks on him. But it was trouble with me because I was gonna muscle up. You're not gonna put it on the ground because
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I'm getting that.
Yeah.
So I forced him a lot into those bank shots, just highly challenged,
Right.
and then just boxed him out.
He's obviously got the height advantage.
Yeah, so he's got the
yeah.
shot. So he's going to be able to shoot the same bank shot that he would beat bigger players with,
Mhm.
but it's just going to be challenged. But that works in my percentage favor, right? It's different than you jabbing somebody, jabbing them, and they, they're backing off to make, keep you from getting into the paint. And he just shoots a practice jump bank shot, as opposed to me being up under him and you trying to jab me off and I'm not moving. And then you can't jab me off. So then you try to back me down and, you get fur enough, I might get some help. So it's like, it made it difficult. That's what Chet Holmgren reminds me of. He's going to be trouble for bigger guys. But when he plays Golden State, he's going to have trouble against Draymond Green. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Draymond's going to be physical with him. He's going to put body on him. He's not going to be able to go by him. He's going to be able to handle, but Draymond's got them, So there's going to be guys like that out there that's going to cause him problems. But there's others that are going to be great opportunities for him to shine. So you'll probably see him on a roller coaster ride a little bit, Bob.
He's certainly like a long-term developmental guy, not necessarily
see him on a roller coaster ride.
Right. If you're Orlando and you're thinking we want rookie of the year, Paulo Banchero might be more of a candidate.
More ready.
But if you're thinking about long-term, right, yeah. And Paulo's, it's no disrespect. I mean, obviously he's the number one pick overall. Paulo is like a 6'10" guy that's not like, modern day age, like we kind of force some 6'10" guys to be fours. He's not like forced into it. He looks like he plays like he's 6'8" basically, but he's just got a little extra height. So I like his upside. But Chet Holmgren,
he has a ceiling upside to me though.
Yeah.
Paul
right.
does.
Yeah.
He has a ceiling upside. He still's got room to grow because I think
he's not a unicorn though.
Yeah. I don't think he's a unicorn either. But Bach, I think that Chet Holmgren, the skill set that he has, that's what they're going to be trying to develop in Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has some forms of skills with the handling and the being able to take you with good counters, can shoot, not with the same consistency that Chet can, but he can shoot it. They're going to try to develop him into what Chet is. And they feel that workability is going to make them more ready because he's going to be able to handle himself in a strong, Eastern Conference with some big bodies over there.
I can't wait to see. I like when they go back and do the redraft. This is going to be such an interesting one down the line because I think there's a lot of potential in there. I like the Keegan Murrays and the Jaden Ivies and some of the other guys that were up there in the top 10 too, of course, that we got to know watching Big Ten basketball. But I think, I can't argue with the top two there because I think they do have the highest ceilings and Paulo, like you said, maybe more NBA ready, but what you can't teach is, and they always say, you can't teach height. And that's why the comparisons are there to Dirk because Chet's doesn't have the athleticism or the dribbling ability at this point. Maybe that's going to be part of his developmental to just kind of get around you. And that's what some people were saying. Despite a great debut, he took a lot of threes because he noticed he wasn't getting around people. And it's not like he's playing an NBA team. This is a summer league team with only one guy on it that was drafted, mostly an undrafted summer league team. And so, he's got a lot of developing to do, but there's just not a whole lot of the guys in the league that just can get their shot. And, it's kind of been the Dirk, the Kevin Durant, that guys with that type of athleticism that just can shoot right over you. That could be what Chet is next. You wonder, you hesitate to say, because those guys got to such heights. There's, like we said, two of the top, probably 50 players in the league of all time, maybe a lot higher than that probably. He's just a baby. That's part of it. But a lot of people are worried he might not grow into his body. Right. Big men have knee issues to begin with, so you always kind of worry about putting weight on guys, but he needs to put on weight. He makes guys that came in the league skinny. He's like the skinniest NBA player of all time. It looks like. I mean, right up there with Manute Bol, maybe.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
One of the dilemmas that you have in drafting a unicorn type of Chet Holmgren is you're envisioning a Dirk type. He's actually got more handle skill than Dirk, but you're envisioning a Dirk with a mixture of KD in it, right? You're envisioning that, but then you may end up with Porzingis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where Porzingis is a tremendous talent, but once things and scouting reports and maybe injuries and certain things catch up with you, you just kind of become a solid player.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with averaging 20 in the league like Porzingis does, but it's, when you compare to Dirk and KD, like you're saying, do you feel like that's kind of you don't want to say that's the floor, because obviously guys could just stunt their development and never get quite to where they want to be, but do you feel like he's going to be, just because of that height, you could talk about getting, pushed down low, but the game's more spread out now. He's always going to be kind of somewhat of a rim protector just because of his length. Yeah. I see a very low possibility of Chet not playing in the league like 7 years from now.
Oh, no. I see him having a good long career.
Yeah, regardless of whether he's a role player or a star.
He will get heavier.
Yeah.
He will get heavier. I would love to see a Luka Doncic transfer some of his weight to Chet Holmgren.
There you go, yeah.
And make Luka a little bit more elastic in his abilities. Luka's kind of heavy.
He does from time to time.
To work on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chet. I think if Chet can, Chet in his body also reminds me like Mikey. It's like I'm looking at myself now, and I'm like, I'm not like big or heavy, but I'm like, dang, I wish I had Mikey Moore's freaking metabolism.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch that dude eat, and he's slim like Chet,
Yeah.
Chet's probably skinnier than him, though. But
Chet's ridiculous.
But
skinny.
I could watch this dude eat 2 pizzas and, then later go eat Amigos and eat a couple. I'm like, bro, like, where is it going? You know what I'm saying? And he never would get bigger. I was like, man, shoot, I wish I had that kind of metabolism.
There are all those few people that just like, no matter what they eat, they can't gain weight. It's crazy.
And that could be Chet.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
You never know.
Because the Slim Reaper.
Yeah.
He never got
gain
bigger.
weight. Yeah. I like to, yeah. So, well, I mean, we'll see. I can't wait to watch their careers play out. And for Oklahoma City, by the way, they got all those future draft picks. If he does kind of hit, Josh Giddey's well on his way, SJA, Gregus Alexander, they've got something brewing down there.
Yeah, they got some works. I mean, they did a good job of accumulation.
Yeah.
Say that. They had to do it, and they did it. That's what they do well.
Too bad Roby's not down there anymore. He's off to San Antonio. At least I noticed he's getting a little ticker action today. People are noticing that pickup, so I like to see that. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Give us a call right now, 402-464-5685. Shootout with Strick is next.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this summer. Check out their new Keen and Tiva brand sandals for hiking and Olukai sandals for sitting by the pool. Plus, they're stocked up on Hey Dudes to catch you up on the latest shoe fashion. They also have shoes and brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Call Nebraska Auto Detail today at 402-601-5086.
If you have concerns about your drinking water, just call Bryant. If your water doesn't look right, smell right, or taste right, Bryant can help. If your water has high levels of iron, Bryant can help. If you're tired of foggy dishes and dingy clothes, Bryant can help. Whatever your home water needs are, Bryant is here with a solution to fit your needs. Be sure about your water. Just call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Football season will be here before you know it, and you can get ahead of everyone else with the first annual Evening with the Huskers event at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill. Join 93.7 The Ticket and Husker Online's Sean Callahan for an evening with current Nebraska football players and surprise guests as they preview the season ahead. Enjoy cocktail hour and a delicious Wagyu steak dinner, as well as an open bar for the duration of the event, all for just $199 per person. Click the logo for the event at theticketfm.com to sign up. Don't delay, this will fill up fast. Don't miss your chance to meet and greet with Husker football players at Tanner's Bar and Grill and Tavern 180 in Lincoln at 30th and Yankee Hill. Sign up today at theticketfm.com using the Evening with the Huskers banner. It's an evening with the Huskers to preview the 2022 Nebraska football season at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Presented by Husker Online and 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your first alert weather forecast tonight. Showers and thunderstorms likely after midnight. That's when a flood watch takes effect. Overnight lows of 70 and heavy rain possible. I'm NTV Chief Forecaster Kent Boughton for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a ready next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Bagels & Joe is in full summer mode. They'll add cold foam to the top of any iced coffee. Plus, they now have a Joe Coffee Club. Get unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per month. And don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches. Bagels & Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I could actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
We stand on the shoulders of women who came before us.
Women who fought for their own financial futures.
And now it's our turn.
Join us. Visit WeSaySaveIt.org and take control of your financial future by saving for retirement.
A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It is time for your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings, but only one of you guys can do it. So the first one to call in right now, 402-464-5685. We'll have a great opportunity to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. You just have to beat Strick in a shootout. Shootout with Strick is our game show. You just got to have some either-or questions. It's not too hard. Don't be fearful. Strick wins from time to time, but you might get a win too. And even if you don't, you still have a chance to hang up and be caller number 3, because if Strick wins, caller number 3 wins the chicken. So give us a call right now, 402-464-5685 to be our contestant today for Shootout with Strick. Today, by the way, the theme for the game show is USFL. Of course, they wrapped up their season. We talked about it a little bit earlier. So if any USFL experts out there, you might be able to beat Strick, because Strick, you are not a USFL expert, are you?
I am surely not one of those.
Yeah, I don't know if those exist. I don't know if they're like talk shows or like too many, you don't usually see hits of it on SportsCenter. It's a Fox league, I suppose. But, all those, I don't know here too much. I don't know if there is a USFL expert, I guess is what I'm getting down to. But we do have Brent on the, Brent is gone. Brent, call back, or somebody else call in. Anybody can call in now, and still be the game show contestant today for $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Hopefully it's Brent. I feel kind of bad.
Oh, I want the forfeit, bro. I need
you just
the
want
chicken.
to win the forfeit.
I need the chicken.
You don't want to. You got to earn your victories.
I'm absolutely hungry today, bro. Like Buffalo Wings and Rings would be very tasty on my palate right now. Today.
Just on your way home, slide by.
Yeah, slide by right out the door.
Turn in that $15 gift card.
Let's get it.
Brent, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good to hear from you, Brent. We're glad that you were able to call back in. Are you a USFL expert?
No, not in the least.
No. Well, either way, you'll have a chance because Strick isn't either. We'll get Strick's score first, and we'll see if Brent can tie him or take the lead and get the win and go home with the chicken. Are you ready, Strick?
Alrighty.
All right. We'll go in 3, 2, and 1. He led the USFL in rushing yards. Jordan Ellis or Reggie Corbin?
Ellis.
That is correct. He led the USFL in receiving touchdowns. Isaiah Zuber or Derek Dillon?
Dillon.
It is actually Zuber. Kicking points leader Brandon Aubrey played for which team? The Gamblers or the Stallions?
The Stallions.
That's right. It is the Stallions. And question number 4, league sack leader Chris Odom went to college where? UConn or Arkansas State?
Arkansas State.
He did go to Arkansas State. And who won the USFL championship this year?
Birmingham.
That's correct. The Birmingham Stallions. You say you're not an expert, but I think that's 5 points there for you from our USFL quiz. You're probably the closest thing as that anybody is to an expert after that run. We'll see if Brent is the real expert. Brent, you can't miss one, or even if you do, you have a chance to tie. But we'll see if you can get this going. Are you ready?
I'm in trouble, I think.
All right. Well, either way, we'll see what we can do for you. We'll go in 3, 2, and 1. He led the USFL in rushing touchdowns. Darius Victor or Stevie Scott?
Scott.
It was actually Victor. He led the USFL in receiving yards. Cavante Turpin or Marlon Williams?
Williams.
It was actually Turpin. He led the USFL in rush yards per game. Who did? The Stars or the Generals?
Generals.
It was the Generals. And league interceptions leaders Channing Sterling went to college where? Ohio State or Michigan?
Michigan.
He did go to Michigan. This former Michigan quarterback was the first overall pick in the USFL draft. Who is it?
4, 3, 2, 1. Williams.
Oh, there's the buzzer. Good guess. It was actually Shea Patterson, but ultimately Strick does get the win in a 5-2 victory. Thanks for calling in, Brent. Go ahead and hang up now because of Strick's victory. Brent, you, as well as everybody else, has the chance to win the chicken. Caller number 3 right now, 402-464-5685. Will go home with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Thanks to Eric Strickland and his USFL expertise.
He's on fire.
Are you? How many of you won?
Only 2, just 2.
That's 2. We'll see tomorrow. You might be on fire. I'll have to remember that. We'll just throw you out an NBA Jam for fun.
Boom shakalaka.
Usually that's the contestants win, but since you brought it up, we'll go with that. Plenty more to catch up with here in the 5 o'clock hour. Obviously, the big trade of the day in the NFL. As the Panthers now have their new starting quarterback, or likely starting quarterback in Baker Mayfield. I also have the ratings for last season. So if you want to guess which or kind of what order Nebraska's games, how many viewers they had, and who kind of leads the pack there. As far as a lot of primetime games, a lot of fun last season. So that'll be an interesting list. We'll go through that stuff with plenty more coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
The new 18-hole course is now open at Adventure Golf Center. You knew them before for their 36 holes, and now experience a brand new style of miniature golf with par 3s, 4s, and 5s. It's a new concept to the Midwest with holes longer than before and unique hazards throughout the course. And it's fun for golfers of all ages and skill levels. Plus, there's a bar on the course that serves alcohol. Try the new 18-hole course today at Adventure Golf Center at 56th and Old Cheney.
Bagels and Joe is in full summer mode. They'll add cold foam to the top of any iced coffee. Plus, they now have a Joe Coffee Club. Get unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per month. And don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches. Bagels and Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Hey dude, can I have the aux cord?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, do you want to play some games?
What? No, stop. I'm trying to drive.
Dude, Aaron wants to know what you're doing on Friday.
Okay, I'll talk to him later. I'm driving right now.
Did you see this thing on Facebook?
Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I gotta put you on Do Not Disturb.
Wait.
It's hard to drive with a bad passenger, so don't let your phone be one. Visit drivesmartany.org for more information. Brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Allo means business. Allo means local business. Allo means big business. Allo means small business. No matter your business, if you need reliable phone and internet connectivity, you need Allo. Local service and same-day dispatch. Free installation. Symmetrical upload and download speeds. If your business relies on communication, rely on Allo. Allo means business. Visit allofiber.com/business.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair.
I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Longtime Nebraska assistant coach, now UNL senior offensive analyst, Ron Brown. He actually recruited internationally to Germany for Isaiah Llewellyn, too.
I went over 3 times, and it was us in Maryland recruiting him. I took Coach Solich with me, who was our head coach at the time. I took him with me on the 3rd time. And poor guy fell down the winding stairwell of Isaiah Llewellyn's home.
Oh, no.
Broke his ankle.
So,
and had to fly. I took a 10-hour flight all the way back to Chicago with a throbbing ankle. People talk about how tough Frank is. That was his toughest moment. Let me tell you. He was a tough
He was coming down a winding staircase in the flowing home.
All the way down the stairs, and his ankle was broken.
He broke his damn ankle.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. The Ticket Water Cooler with Jake Bakoven and Nathan Brennan.
Let's take it a step further. If Nebraska wins the division, that means they go to the Big Ten championship. They win the Big Ten championship, that means they go to the playoff. They go to the playoff, now we're cooking with gas. I don't agree with you. I don't know what to tell you. That's ridiculous.
Weekdays from 3 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for 3. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega, and I like pepper.
Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach.
Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday. We're here to make it even better if you're not, because we got plenty of sports talk here for another hour on the block. I'm Jake Bakoven. He is the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet, Eric Strickland, and we've got some sports to talk today because there might be a new starting quarterback in the NFL out there near Charlotte as the Panthers have picked up a guy that's been on the trade block for a while now, Baker Mayfield. It seemed like that was the destination he was going to end up with. Never happened. We thought maybe it would happen before draft night. It didn't. They ended up taking Matt Corral in the 3rd round out of Ole Miss, so you thought maybe they're not going to go after Baker, but ultimately they do today, steal him basically, because they traded the Browns a conditional 5th-round draft pick in order to get Mayfield. The salary was probably what they were bickering about over the last several months when, this thing's kind of been seemingly on the table for a while. The Browns will pay $10.5 million as well. So unloading him is going to cost them a bit of Baker Mayfield's salary coming up. Carolina will only take around $5 million. So good deal all around for Carolina. Mayfield will trim his base salary, by the way, $3.5 million. So he had to give up a little in order to get out of Cleveland as well. Kind of interesting as this all, it's fun to kind of follow, I guess, how we got here. And part of it is that the Panthers maybe would have taken a different quarterback or a quarterback higher in the second round if they had a second round pick, but they traded last year's second round pick for Sam Darnold, who was their project quarterback last year. Didn't really work out. So if you go back, Darnold was traded for a 2021 sixth round pick and this second and fourth round pick this last year. The Panthers could have taken Kenny Pickett as high as number 6, I think, but they took offensive tackle Akeem Ekwonu instead out of North Carolina State. So Kenny Pickett would be drafted by Pittsburgh. Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis would be the other quarterbacks taken before the Panthers got another pick. They went with Matt Corral, but it looks like they're at least going to be moving him along a little bit slower because I'd have to think that Baker Mayfield at least starts the year as the starter. Sam Darnold has seemingly played himself out of starting NFL quarterback contention. Period. Probably going to be a backup type for the next several years. But what do you think of this move? It's absolutely huge as far as the Panthers go, getting a starting quarterback. Now, he might not be, he might not be Josh Allen or anything, but I think there's still some upside and some questions out there as well as, if Baker Mayfield can be a longtime starter in the NFL. He's going to get his another chance.
I mean, it's come down to this, that he was disgruntled at this point. And rightfully so, from what he's done for the community, what he's done for the team, rightfully so disgruntled. You couldn't retain him. You wasn't going to get no good use out of him. Him being there at that point was
a locker
net
room
negative. It was going to be a net negative all the way across the board. You've already got craziness. Him being in town could only create more cancerous cells to be able to spread amongst that stuff with all that going on, because now you've got another microscope that's turned onto the Deshaun Watson situation. Right. And so you're dealing with that. So Panthers,
they have to get him off. Well, I'm just saying they have to get him off the roster because you can't have the situation where Watson is suspended, Baker Mayfield is just refusing to play. That's just even awful.
Worse. Awful. So you had to do it. But I give 2 thumbs up for the Panthers because they held their ground. Panthers was really looking at this deal with Baker Mayfield for quite a while. I think they kind of wanted to go there. They were chomping at the bit. They didn't get thirsty. They weren't freaking, like Pookie in New Jack City where he was craving the crack. He wasn't that.
Yeah.
So they waited. They patiently set the course, got them Cleveland to retain $10.5 million of that salary, which helps their salary cap situation even more. Panthers only taking on 5 and getting a reduction. And here's why. Baker Mayfield wants to play ball. He also wanted to be out of there, and he's looking at that Panther situation and saying, what better way for to start my situation? Don't have the similar type of pressure as going to maybe another top tier program like Tennessee or something.
Yeah.
Going down there with expectations like heavily on
that he had in Cleveland, to be honest.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have expectation, but the Charlotte fans, the Carolina Panther fans had an opportunity to see Darnold fall off the la-dee-dee-doo, la-dee-dee-doo, la. Yeah, you got to see. You got to watch.
There goes his career right down the drain.
You got to watch that up close and personal. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, he's going in. You just got to be better, baby. You just got to be better than what was put out on that field last year in that debacle. So I think it works all the way across the board for all parties involved. I know probably he's got a new invigoration about him. He's kind of feeling good, now he's healthy, so I'm thinking it's a good situation for him. But then you look back across the other side, and I'm gonna let you talk, but you look back across the other side. I'll tap in on that. I'll let you finish up because I know you want to get in on that.
Well, yeah, it's I think it's a new chip on his shoulder. Remember, he was one time a walk-on at Texas Tech, and it looked like he was not going to move up the chain there, as they had actually a really good quarterbacker, and I think Davis Webb was there. But it didn't look like he was going to start there, so he ended up transferring to Oklahoma and winning a Heisman. I mean, he's an amazing story if you kind of think back on it. But the number 1 overall pick at Cleveland, he had all the weapons in the world to work with. Of course, kind of infamously now, just for one reason or the other, never worked with OBJ. OBJ had 0 touchdowns last year in the first 6 weeks or whatever it was before he forced his way out of there, and then went on to win a Super Bowl and kind of, star and make, big plays for Los Angeles when they need him, and certainly had touchdowns. So, that's where this kind of gets interesting, is that Baker Mayfield, is kind of like a mid-tier NFL quarterback based on his stats here and there. 92 touchdowns, 56 interceptions to this point in his career, over 14,000 yards. 3,800 was his tops, which, those guys hitting 5,000 this day and age. So not exactly lighting the world on fire, right, but a solid NFL quarterback, 29-30 as a starter. That, of course, 2 years ago, in 2020, when he went 11-5 as a starter and took him to the playoffs through 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That was kind of the outlier year, though. He's been very turnover prone. Outside of that, his other career numbers look like this: 27-14 his rookie year, 22-21. This is touchdown to interception ratio. His sophomore year, if you will, in the NFL, and then last year 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. But like you alluded to earlier, played hurt a majority of the season. He got hurt with his shoulder early on that season, played through it, tried to do his best to get the Browns to where they needed to be. Couldn't do it. And obviously, I don't even know what to say about the Deshaun Watson situation that's going on. He's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. After sitting out a year, they felt like he's certainly a better quarterback than Baker is, or probably ever will be, the last time we saw Deshaun Watson. So higher ceiling, certainly much bigger risk involved with what they're doing there. But it's interesting for the Panthers, because at least to me, they basically gave up nothing. This is a great deal for them. I was talking to Nate about it earlier. He doesn't necessarily see it, turning their season around or anything, and it probably doesn't. But it might give them a few more wins and at least a glimmer of hope to get things going on there with Matt Rule. And maybe you find your next franchise quarterback. I don't think that we're outside the arena of Baker Mayfield. He's probably more of a stopgap. I get that. That's probably the expectation, but he could do well and maybe kind of turn things around there.
Well, I mean, like I said, when you look back at the other side right now, you've got to figure that Cleveland and their brass are really honing in on what most of us don't, and that's the fine print in the contract right now, right? So, there's 2 questions that I'm going to shoot out of this, but first I want to just kind of go into for mailbag published Wednesday morning. Terry Pluto of the Cleveland.com, he addressed this question about the Browns' possibility of being able to void the contract for the $230 million that was awarded to him in the spring. The issue is that they can't do it, right? Just on the onset, because the issues were already in play prior to them signing him. So They had to take all of that came with it. The only way that they can get out of that contract is that there to be some new filings, as far as some new trouble or something else that pops up on the radar. But right now, it's in claim mode. So in the lawsuit that was mentioned in June 27, it was stated that there were many and multiple massages that were interactions there. So they're saying there were some unwanted outright sexual advances. But the problem is that it's gone to 2 grand juries, and none of them said that there was enough evidence. So depending and barring the investigation by the NFL, also what transpires with what anything may come up that's new after the signing or anything of that nature, it looks like they're stuck. So in essence, they're basically stuck with either, if he is suspended, they're stuck with Jacoby Brissett or Josh Dobbs. That's not looking
not
very
guys
good.
that are elevating you.
That's not looking very good for them after what you just did.
Not
what
better
you
than
just
Baker.
paid. Exactly.
Right.
So that's the problem. So I want to throw this out, because listen, I'm not saying one way or the other, but I do think that this does happen in so many instances, more times than not, with social media, with the news and the microscopes and the TMZs and the likes of these types of entities that are ready and available on the drop of a hat or dime. That was and is Watson being judged in the space of public opinion at this point, as opposed to allowing the system to continue to be fettered out, and it's not being as tainted by way of all of these rumor mills that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously his name's fairly or not, and when only God knows, or the people involved. His name has been kind of dragged through the mud. It is what it is. The allegations were out there. There's not a perfect way to kind of figure this out, because like you said, how do you unless you have videotape or something, the facts aren't going to be there. There's not, the proof's not going to be there. He's come to settlements with 20 of the 24 plaintiffs that were suing him. It's just a large number, and so I think
that's the thing that throws you for the
which
loop.
maybe it could have we've seen before, kind of turn into a witch hunt, and all these other people kind of jump on board, and that could have happened. But he went to a lot of massage therapists, and it's just it's time after time that these things are coming up. So I think,
okay, Cyndi Lauper.
Well, I'm not trying. I'm no way the law, or but I think we all can kind of go through our own thoughts about it, and it kind of come up to where to whatever it is that you got down to a conclusion. But even like altogether, like there's no perfect way to do it, and I know you have to trust in the court, you have to believe in it, and you have to go by that ruling. Right. Doesn't mean it's right. There's been things that have gone through the court that have been mistakenly done here, and settlements are the hardest thing to come up to to really get around, because it's like, well, they just settled,
Right,
so it's like, well, were they just chasing money, or was it was enough at this point that they knew they didn't have proof, so at least to get something out of it. So it's just a very, very confusing conversation to have. But I do know the Houston Texans knew that he was like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The NFL didn't suspend Deshaun Watson. The Texans just said, nah, we're not playing him. Because they didn't want, that public thing to go the other way. So it's very weird. And we do this all the time with athletes, where it's like that team that has him, they can't play with him anymore.
Right.
But if he gets if he goes somewhere else, well, then it's another opportunity. We'll all cheer for second opportunities and all that. But I know there's a lot of Cleveland fans that this was the final straw for them, where it's just like, what do you want me to do? Go buy this guy's jersey? I'm not it. Yeah, I'm not for this. Yeah. So it's just it's very confusing. And then above it all, it's like the Browns have been disastrous as an organization since coming back, and they quarterback has been at the top of that list. And somehow, I don't know, I I don't know how he got like the best deal. Considering the circumstance, he just got a boatload of money. One of the best deals ever in NFL history. I just don't understand how that happens. And I don't know if there's a whole lot of other NFL franchises that would have done this other than the Browns.
Right. And that's the crazy thing about it. I mean, when you just look around the landscape of it, you could have did it for so much more. I think, let me just say, I think you had the leverage. If you're Cleveland Browns in this specific situation, you had all the leverage operating in your hand. You had just what you just alluded to. You said basically, they've suspended him. They weren't playing him. They weren't going to bring him back because all stuff was still pending and in the atmosphere, and all the allegations hadn't been cleared. All of that stuff is still going and ongoing. So at the end of the day, they wanted to get rid of him. So you could have got him for way less.
You would think, or at least you should.
If you wanted to take,
Yeah.
or took the risk out of it by not guaranteeing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Pending this, or pending that. And if you do this and come back and do that, you could have put a heavy laden bonus plan out there.
Oh yeah,
that got you there.
Like any more allegations, and a lot of this can be you got to be able to write a good contract there.
Yeah.
And somehow they didn't. And then the other thing is, like, it's not like they're in such a desperate position. I understand Baker Mayfield is basically on his prove it year, whether it was in Cleveland or now here in Carolina.
Yeah, you could have waited that out.
But you could have had another season.
Yeah.
It's not like the people would riot of Cleveland if you had Baker again. So it's just fascinating. The Browns continue to stun, even when they somehow put together a great roster. Here they are making weird moves, and they certainly didn't win this trade.
One other thing, Bach, and I want you to speak on this. We talked about on the block on many occasions about the quarterback salaries and the hindrance that can become. We've debated it.
Oh yeah,
on the block many a times on the hindrance that can become to you and the success of your organization, because it limits you with the abilities to be able to surround them with linemen, with quality running back or receivers or whatever the case, because you can't pay them, right?
Right.
So with that in mind, does that move not only hinder you with the fan base, but does it also hinder you because now you paid one of the highest ceiling contracts to a quarterback that you may not even be able to use, and you can't go out and acquire any other pieces? That's why I say you have Baker Mayfield on a prove-it year. You could have done that, secured assets. Then maybe if he goes nuts and you still feel there's somebody out there you need, you have another year to keep your eye, to probe, to see who's going to shine. You might even get a look at young fella down in Alabama or somebody.
Yeah, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, it's decent quarterback year.
So you've got all of that opportunity still yet in front of you, and you go out and do that, which could devastate your organization and put you back into the paper bag face years.
Yeah. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Sometimes, I know GMs work hard and get to their jobs and all that stuff. And we're just here behind a microphone just yelling about it. But sometimes it just seems like common sense is lost. There's only so much you can do. So I know that you kind of get into that mode of, they've worked hard and they're in that position and they know more than you about their team and all the things that are kind of go into it. But sometimes it's just like, man, I feel like common sense was lost here. Or, there's situations where I always kind of think you're trying to outthink the room. Like you're trying to go above that next level. And I don't know if Houston didn't want to play him. I don't know if I'd want to grab him. I understand he is probably a top 5 quarterback, but that's before sitting out a year. I mean, that might, that might not help him. He's aging at the same time. I'm not getting too old. Obviously he's a younger guy, but, I don't know. There's so much at play out there, and maybe they felt like Baker already had his prove-it year, but he got hurt. I just don't know how you would and played for you with being hurt. I don't know how you would punish him for that, but that's where they are, and the Panthers are the benefactor of it. At least some team kind of comes out on top of it. Again, I don't know if the Panthers are now a playoff team or anything like that, but it is another opportunity for Baker Mayfield to resurrect his career. And something also interestingly enough for Matt Rule, who's the coach there and was a hot commodity when he left Baylor led him to an 11-win season, and then bolted off for the NFL. He could be interesting if this thing doesn't work out, where he's had 3 years in Carolina, has only won 5 games each of his first 2 years. They don't, NFL stands for not for long, not just for players, but for coaches as well, if you don't win right away. So I think Matt Rule, if this doesn't work out, might not get a 4th year, and he'll have his NFL opportunity, at least for now, will have passed him by, having trotted out 1 year, just like absolutely, shots in the dark with Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold and now Baker Mayfield. So it's kind of interesting when you kind of go back to that too, is, obviously in this league, as it's becoming more and more of an offensive league, and Matt Rule's an offensive guy, but we know the importance of having a quarterback and having a stability there, and a guy, just a top 12, top 15 quarterback that gives you a chance. I don't know. I don't think Baker gives you that, but maybe Matt Rule can work his magic and gets a little bit more out of Baker than he was able to. But he's going to have to work that magic from college because he hasn't been able to do it at the NFL with these guys yet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Keep your eye on it because, like you said, he has a chip on his shoulder right now. Having that chip on his shoulder could provide, there are people that it bursts their pipes, and there are people that, run water through it. You know what I mean? And they actually are getting a good flow, and he could shine in this situation, which, being healthy, being mentally at peace, and getting into a new environment, sometimes that can spark a new flavor about you and the way you handle your business. And so he could go out there and do a wonderful job this year, run them into the playoffs, and maybe win a game. I mean, that would set Charlotte on fire, if he did something like that.
We'll take a quick break here on the block. I did run down the ratings from last year for Nebraska. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of compare that to the USFL championship game. So kind of think how many Nebraska games beat the USFL championship game in the ratings. Hold on to your answer. I'll give it to you around the corner. Coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's time to start thinking about what's next. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Southeast Community College wants to be part of your conversation. SCC Discovery Days give you an immersive look at our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford. Come take a tour, meet our instructors and students, ask questions, and see all the new things SCC has been doing and building in the last few years. See more and register online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. Your path to possible.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OakStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
Oak Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great. We're definitely coming back in the future.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today. The new 18-hole course is now open at Adventure Golf Center. You knew them before for their 36 holes, and now experience a brand new style of miniature golf with par 3s, 4s, and 5s. It's a new concept to the Midwest with holes longer than before and unique hazards throughout the course. And it's fun for golfers of all ages and skill levels. Plus, there's a bar on the course that serves alcohol. Try the new 18-hole course today at Adventure Golf Center at 56th and Old Cheney.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your first alert weather forecast tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely after midnight. That's when a flood watch takes effect. Overnight lows of 70 and heavy rain possible. I'm NTV Chief Forecaster Kent Boughton for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back with you here on the block on a Wednesday, and going to run through a little fun exercise that I think is fun. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but I like TV ratings. Are you into TV ratings at all? Do you like to see what the people are watching?
I kind of tip, peek in on it. I don't overly do it, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll go and look and kind of track why somebody got kicked off or why somebody is really thriving, why they got an extra extended year. I'll do it sometimes.
Yeah. It's sometimes I think maybe a little bit nerdy, but to me it's interesting. And I used it earlier because we're talking about the USFL. The USFL its championship game drew 1.5 million on Fox, and for what it's worth, if you're on the three-letter networks, ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS. That's pretty accessible from almost any cable package or streaming package these days. Even like antennas. Remember, did you ever have a friend that just didn't have cable and just like put up an antenna and you'd still get like, when we were kids, you'd still get like CBS and Fox and ABC or something. And so those are expected to draw higher ratings.
It's too crazy. I mean, I've just streamed because I don't watch, like you're saying, I don't watch all of those channels.
Yeah.
So having cable in my house now is like, it's a waste because you're paying $100, $200, $300 for something that I'm like not even really watching. And
you watch like 4 channels.
Yeah, like 4 channels and maybe a few movies periodically because I'm kind of busy and I'm out and I'm moving around. So I stream, man. I just stream what I like to watch. You know what I mean? Like right now, show on HBO, I think it's HBO Max. I got that because sometimes you'll get new movies that'll pop out. I don't want to go to the theater. I'll watch it on HBO Max. Like when Dune came out, I watched it on HBO Max.
Do you switch like?
So I could watch Westworld right now.
Oh yeah, nice. Westworld's a good one. I like the first season. I didn't watch much after that. But do you switch? Like I'm waiting for the new Game of Thrones series to come out, and I'm thinking,
there's a new one. I heard.
Yeah,
okay.
But I'm waiting until then to get HBO.
Yeah.
So like I can pay $8 a month. All these are like $8 or $9. Netflix, whatever it is, Hulu. They're all like $8 or $9 a month to get the primary movies and stuff like that. And so I find myself like watching all of what's on Netflix. And then I won't return to Netflix. I'll go watch all of what's on Hulu. And then you eventually just kind of look for what's out there. Cancel that subscription, add this one. Yeah, it works out
you can work around like that. I think I kind of been like Disney been kind of irking me a little bit. So like I really don't. I mean, but you got kids, so you're a little bit different than me.
If you're a Star Wars guy, Disney's putting everything.
Like I used to love like watching the Star Wars parts of it. And then, then they got all the other stuff that be going on. So I'd be like, freaking hey, bro. But yeah, I watch it, and like you said, I'll suspend the subscription. Like right now, my Hulu's on suspension because I've been so busy. I'm like, I'm not able to really watch it.
Yeah, and if you're watching, if when you do have the time, you're watching HBO, why pay for Hulu?
And it's sports. Really, I really got Hulu because of sports, Big Ten Network. Just all the different sports I watch because of our wonderful show.
Yeah,
but
in the summer, not watching too much of that either.
Yeah.
Well, any case, let's go to this kind of discussion, because USFL, we talked about a little bit earlier. It's a league that's trying to survive, and 1.5 million on Fox. It's something. It's not great. How many Nebraska football games last year? Remember, they played on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, FS1, all these things. They had 12 games last year. How many games do you think outperformed the USFL championship game?
6.
Good guess. It's actually 7. 7 games outperformed the championship game in the spring league, which is probably
with
fair.
A 3-9 team.
With a 3-9 team. This is why, again, college football is the way it is today, because they get massive numbers. Like the NFL is king above everybody, but college football, more so than any other league, can get games like championship games of 21 million viewers, or SEC championship game of 15 million viewers or whatever. And it's tough for other leagues, I'm talking about professional leagues, to compete with college football. That's why the college football model is looking more and more pro, because that's where the money's been. The money's been there. And so with Nebraska last year, it's just kind of fun to run down. So 7 games last year would beat the USFL championship game, which was on Fox, a 3-letter network. So, not even Nebraska didn't even have that benefit. But let's run through them. What do you think was the highest watched game last year for Nebraska? You go through kind of the
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma was actually 3rd.
Wow. Then it had to be Michigan.
Michigan was 2nd.
Ohio State?
Ohio State was 1st, and actually was 1st that weekend. It was the most watched college football game.
Ohio State's fan base is like just as raucous as ours.
Yeah,
so I can see
that plays into it. Okay. 5.3 million people tuned in to that game. That was the highest rated game for Nebraska. Since you guessed the next 2, I'll just add those along too. Michigan was the next most watched game, despite the fact Nebraska didn't score until after halftime. That was 4th that weekend on ABC with 4.629 million viewers. Alabama A&M was 1st with 8.334 million viewers that weekend. Oklahoma on Big Noon, not as good of a time slot as maybe one of those night games, although Fox was Big Noon as well. 4.2 million viewers. That was 3rd that weekend on Fox. Alabama, Florida won that weekend with 7.86 million. How about from the rest of the group? Outside of Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, the Blue Bloods, like you said, the teams that are combining with Nebraska's great fan base to get a big number. What do you think is left out there?
Give me 4 of. Give me
the
6
other
of the schedule outside of the FCS and those whoever they play.
Yeah, Michigan State was a big game. Was a fun game at least.
Just tell me who they were.
Michigan State, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Purdue, Northwestern, Minnesota.
All right, so I would say Iowa then would be next, then Wisconsin, Michigan State, then Purdue.
Pretty good guess. Actually, week 0 did better than you would think with Illinois.
Really?
The 4th best was Wisconsin. It was 3.5 million people tuned into that. That was 4th that weekend on ABC. Then Illinois, the week 0 game.
Wow.
Because there's not a whole lot else to watch. People are hungry for football. 3.2 million people tuned in to that game. Then Iowa, Iowa's interesting because it was like set records for BTN, a BTN football game with 1.94 million. Again, that's better than USFL did on Fox.
Yeah.
So they did that on BTN against Iowa. So that was kind of cool. Ohio State, Michigan that weekend blew it up. 15.9 million people were watching that game. From there, Michigan State, you would think would be a little higher, but you have to remember that game was on FS1, so that only drew 1.66 million. Purdue then was on ESPN2 is next up for Nebraska. 1.295 million viewers for that one. Northwestern, which was Nebraska's big win. It was kind of fun for us at least, but that was on BTN along with Michigan State, Western Kentucky, so it was kind of regional. So not everybody even in the BTN area got to see it. 1.1 million. Buffalo the same, 1.0 million actually,
That's
despite being on
good,
ESPN too.
Buffalo, that's good. Over 1 million viewers.
That was for Northwestern. Buffalo had 626,000.
Okay.
Which was near the end. Only Fordham was worse. 241,000, which is crazy. That's like 2.5 football stadiums at Memorial Stadium. You
Mhm.
filled one up, only a couple
Mhm.
other, compared to what Nebraska usually draws, but it
Yeah.
is Fordham. 241,000. The other problem with that is that was similar to the Northwestern game. That was like regional BTN. So depending on your area, your footprint of the BTN. So some people were watching Temple Rutgers, which played into that number as well. But it's still, I think it's a fun exercise, and goes to tell you again, certain weekends, Nebraska first, fourth, third, fourth, for games of that week, and the time slots matter, and the networks matter, and all that. But kind of just shows you why Nebraska was playing on Big Noon and playing in those big games. And it was that the schedule was difficult, but it's also the Nebraska brand, which is going to continue to propel and help Nebraska into the future. On the field stuff hasn't been great, but as we divvy into this new world of what, who's in what conference, and everybody's looking for the large markets and the big audiences, that's what Nebraska has going for it more than anything, is the
If
huge
they
following.
get off to a 3-0 start,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be off the chain that next game against Oklahoma.
And that Oklahoma game, too, I just feel like it's got a little bit more to it, considering what's gone on this offseason. It's like, I don't know if the 2029-2030 scheduled game between Oklahoma and Nebraska is going to happen. I don't know if non-con games are going to happen by then, because the conferences are going to be so big. So is this the last Nebraska-Oklahoma game we get in quite some time? Certainly could be.
Could be.
That's interesting to look forward to. Moving on. A few more things to get to. Let's jump into this before we head into our final segment. Micah Parsons had something to say the other day. He said him and Travion Diggs think that they can surpass Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey as the best defensive duo in the league. Now, he admits they're not there now. Micah Parsons, of course, just a rookie last year, so it seems like he's setting this goal out there. Do you see this as blasphemous, or do you like the confidence, or what do you kind of feel comparing yourself to Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, who just won the championship, of course, have been to the Super Bowl before, and are just cemented in the league as big names? I mean, Aaron Donald's probably the best defensive player we've seen in a couple, 10, 15 years.
May allegedly be up there in the top.
Maybe all time.
Yeah. Listen, I like the confidence. I like the energy behind it. I like even, the thought of it. And I would even say I would like to see it. But I think it's a blasphemous comment right now coming out of his mouth. I would love, show if Micah Parsons right now, because he's going to be on everybody's scouting report now. See, that's the difference between Micah Parsons and Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is on everybody's scouting report, and they're having discussions in offensive coordinator rooms as to what are we going to do about this guy? Are we gonna single block him? Are we gonna wedge block him? Are we gonna chip block him? Well, what are we gonna do with this guy every time he shows up for a game? I venture to say Micah Parsons isn't there yet.
At least not at the start of the season. By the end of the season, might start to game plan for him.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I think that he's talked about, there's concern about, but they had the same feeling about J.J. Watt and T.J. Like T.J. Watt to me right now is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to Micah Parsons. I like Micah Parsons. I love his versatility. I love that he can go on the end, get off the linebacker. He can move around. He can blitz. He can do all types of things. I love that about him. He can even cover some. But to say that's what I think makes him valuable. But to say, I think TJ Watt is tremendously better.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, just as a whole. You're game planning for TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Every time he shows
Remember,
up.
he tied the sack record last year.
Now, until Micah Parsons shows up in that 20 range for me, that's blasphemous.
But it's a good goal from a young guy.
Good goal.
And keep in mind, Trayvon Diggs was just in his second year last year.
Killer.
11 interceptions.
Now, if they start to say Deion saying, I'm blasphemous.
Yeah, that's blasphemous.
Stop it.
And Trayvon Diggs, to me, too, is a prove-it guy, because we have seen years where cornerbacks pop up and have their huge year, lots of interceptions, and then never return to that form.
Right.
It's going to be hard to get 11 again. I don't know exactly
But
expect
guess
that.
who sustained that?
Jalen Ramsey, who he's trying to compare himself to.
Who surprisingly sustained that type of longevity? Ed Reed.
Oh yeah, that's one of the
Still was getting it
best
done.
safeties of all time. That guy's.
Yes, sir.
Do not want to get hit by him.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a quick break and round things out. I got kind of a fun little deal to go through here. Of course, Summer League is starting, and Strick's actually going to go out to Summer League. So we're going to have on the block from Summer League, which is going to be really cool. I just wanted to remind you guys of where some of the Huskers are playing and just tell you about some of the fun teams, because I know some people, if you're not a big NBA guy, I get it. But Summer League's fun. I mean, there's a lot of like guys in between the NBA, and honestly, these teams, even though they don't have the coaching probably to reach this level, but they're better than college teams. I mean, you've got like the best players of all these college teams going in there. So we'll talk about that. I'll point out the ex-Huskers in Summer League, including Jariah Horn, Teddy Allen, where they're at. Of course, Trey McGowan's and Bryce McGowan's are playing too. Delano Banton's back in Summer League. And I want to ask you specifically if the Utah Jazz, Strick, their Summer League team, which lost last night to Chet Holmgren in OKC, if they would win the NCAA tournament, because I'm trying to make a point here that Summer League's awesome. We'll do that coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Bagels & Joe is in full summer mode. They'll add cold foam to the top of any iced coffee. Plus, they now have a Joe Coffee Club. Get unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per month. And don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches. Bagels & Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
At Venue Catering and Events, we offer 2 of the most historic ballrooms in Lincoln. The Jasmine Room, located in the historic Grand Manse in the heart of downtown, featuring a beautiful built-in antique bar, spacious patio, and soaring skylit ceilings. The Scottish Rite Ballroom, located just 2 blocks from the state's capital, boasts intricate hand-carved columns, rich dark wood floors, and lavish chandeliers. The perfect venues to host your wedding, corporate event, or much more. For availability and more information, call us at 402-603-6483.
It's time to start thinking about what's next. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Southeast Community College wants to be part of your conversation. SCC Discovery Days give you an immersive look at our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford. Come take a tour, meet our instructors and students, ask questions, and see all the new things SCC has been doing and building in the last few years. See more and register online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. Your path to possible.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Longtime Nebraska assistant coach, now UNL senior offensive analyst, Ron Brown. You actually recruited internationally to Germany for Isaiah Llewellyn, too.
I went over 3 times, and it was us in Maryland recruiting him. I took Coach Solich with me, who was our head coach at the time. I took him with me on the 3rd time. And poor guy fell down the winding stairwell of Isaiah Llewellyn's home.
Oh, no.
Broke his ankle.
So,
and had to fly. I took a 10-hour flight all the way back to Chicago with a throbbing ankle. People talk about how tough Frank is. That was his toughest moment. Let me tell you, he was a tough.
He was coming down a winding staircase and flowing him
all the way down the stairs, and his ankle was broken.
He broke his damn ankle.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
We stand on the shoulders of women who came before us.
Women who fought for their own financial futures.
And now it's our turn.
Join us. Visit WeSaySaveIt.org and take control of your financial future by saving for retirement.
A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are rounding things out here on the block. As excited for Ticket Weeknights again tonight. Big Red Birdies, I think, will be first. A couple gals from the women's golf team. They've already had a shot at this, so they'll give it another round. So stay tuned for that. Also, Riffin' with Raph and AD, one of my favorite shows on the Ticket, will also be tonight. So great stuff coming up for Ticket Weeknights. Strick, you're going to be going out to watch some Summer League basketball. So I wanted to highlight it a little bit last night. And it has been highlighted today from Chet Holmgren and his experience and his performance, I should say, his debut last night, where he looked pretty good with OKC Thunder, and you can hear that on all your national outlets. It's been a big talking point today. But I was particularly enthralled with the Utah Jazz. Part of the punch back on the Chet Holmgren mania, I guess, today was that the Utah Jazz, some people would say, don't have a very great Summer League team put together. They only have one guy that's drafted on there. But I punch back at that and say I think that team might win the NCAA tournament. And that's what should be expected with these teams, because they're all the best players on their teams from college, and it spans from, the last 3 years. So I don't think, I always love watching Summer League, and I try to get people to do it, and I understand it's kind of like trying to get people to watch the USFL. Yeah. There's no connection. There's not really, Summer League championship, what does that mean and all that? But there's some crazy athleticism out there. So I got to ask you this. If the Utah Jazz Summer League team played in college basketball, would they win the NCAA tournament? Because here's the guys I can put together on that team. Vic Law, who played at Northwestern, you might recognize him. But more importantly, James Palmer Jr., the former Husker, he got one of his shots blocked last night on Chet Holmgren.
Yeah,
you can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Johnny Juzang of UCLA, DJ Funderburk, just a cool name more than anything. But the big guys, and I call college basketball the land of giants, they would have the 1-2 punch of Kofi Cockburn and Taco Fall.
Okay. Let me tell you what I think, because we got to roll up out of here. But I think they're just like Purdue in the college game.
Oh yeah, that's a good comparison.
I think that's what would end up happening.
The land of big men.
They would get down there, they would do some damage, and then they would end up like Purdue taking an L.
Yeah. Hopefully,
because really it's guard play. Like in the NCAA tournament, if you've got solid shooting, great guard play, and some big men that are solid, that would have some flexibility to do some different things, and they're just not post driven, you can win. Just look at the makeup of the last year's tournament. Even Baycott could stretch you out.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've got guys with some, versatilities that you can look at their team and see why they had success.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good thought there. I do want to go run through and let you guys know, if you are on the lookout for Summer League, some of the guys that you might be interested in watching. The Raptors, of course, Delano Banton, still going to be playing Summer League. Had a successful rookie year.
Yeah.
Ron Harper Jr. is also on that team, so that'd be kind of fun.
Hopefully he lost some weight.
Into. Yeah, I think he needs to if he's gonna make it. How about the Kings? Jariah Horn, former Husker.
Yeah.
It's been a while. He transferred to Colorado and then to Tulsa and then back to Tulsa. Tulsa
and back on next team and then down there. Yeah,
but he's out there with Keegan Murray with the Kings.
Teddy Buckets?
Teddy Buckets is on the Nuggets summer league team.
Wow.
He's got Christian Braun. Of course, his mom drew a lot of charm, I suppose, from NBA draft night from Kansas guard there. Colin Gillespie, another good Villanova player there. But Teddy Allen, with the Nuggets, I would check him out. See if there's anybody else with Nebraska connections other than obviously the McGowans. We know Trey McGowan's playing with the Clippers.
Trey's got a good shot with Tyronn Lue.
Oh yeah, little connection there
with no money that you'd have to worry about. Low end, high possible return. You're defensive minded. You've got Kawhi, and you want to add some of those pieces. Man, shoot.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's a great
I'll be cheering
spot. Sometimes it's opportunity. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then of course Bryce McGowens will be out there with the Hornets. Brady Manick, who you mentioned earlier, actually will be on that team as well. And LaMelo Ball. Do you find it a bit weird to have? There's some stars, like guys that have made it now in the league.
Yeah, because he was an all-star.
Yeah, playing summer league ball. Do you find that odd or
no? Most organizations, no matter what, you usually
require
play 2 years. Yeah, you're usually going to play your first and second year regardless. That's just how it is. I mean, even me and Kobe, our second years played. I know LeBron. I think maybe he might be one of the ones that didn't. Very possible.
Very few people though that get that opportunity. That's interesting, but they don't seem to play as much because
you don't play as much.
Yeah, you don't play very much.
Yeah, I think I played 2 games my second year
because they know what you have. They have with you. They're just looking for you to stay in shape, I suppose.
Yeah, well, they want to kind of say. Well, for me, it was contract, so they wanted. I think I averaged 26 in 2 games, so they were like, "Oh yeah, we know."
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
It was like, pay him.
Yeah. So you had 2 years of summer league, right?
Yeah, I played 2 years. My first year I played with Indiana, and then my second year I played with Dallas.
That's interesting because you did end up on Indiana eventually. So was there some sort of connection there?
Yeah. They knew. Matter of fact, Donnie Walsh told me we should have signed you when we had you the first time. That was what he told me in the meeting I had with him.
Yeah.
He was like, but what happened was you had Herb Brown, which is Larry Brown's brother.
Yeah.
Didn't like me.
Come on, Herb Brown.
Herb Brown. He did it. Everybody else was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Larry, you shouldn't have listened to your brother. Right.
Would have been a fun team to play on too with Jalen Rose and that whole crew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would have been fun.
Yeah. That's all right. You had fun with the Mavericks and then had a very cool run with the Pacers too. I think that team was even more fun, probably. Jermaine O'Neal and Reggie and Ron Artest and all those guys. All right, we'll take that actually will wrap it up for On the Block today. And actually for Ticket Weeknights, I think we're still going to have Big Red Birdies as well as Riffing with Raff and AD, but the deep end is going to go first. So full night here on Ticket Weeknights, always in Fuego. Night. If you haven't listened yet, you need to listen to the current athletes. Also, Raff and AD, because they got some good stories for you too, and always great guests. Yeah. So that'll wrap it up for On the Block. Stay tuned for Ticket Weeknights. We'll be back tomorrow.
It's time to start